Is this the person I've been dating all this while? That was the question I asked myself after finding out the truth about my so-called husband-to-be, my fiancé. My name is Ajoke, a 24-year-old lady living in a town called Ara Idan Town. I finished my ND at Songbi Polytechnic in Ara Town, and I currently work in a big store, earning 70,000 naira per month. I live with my parents and my two younger sisters, Akanbi and Ajoke. Our father is a very strict man who always says he won't allow any of us to move out of his house until we're ready to marry. My mother doesn't fully support that idea, but I didn't think too much about it. I felt it was okay, after all, it would save me from unnecessary expenses before getting married. Until the day I met Akanbi. I was returning from an errand my mother sent me when this handsome guy walked up to me and asked for my number. His name was Akanbi. He promised to text me when he got home, and he did. From there, we started talking every day. A few weeks later, he asked me out on a date. I agreed, and we went out together. That same day, he asked me to be his girlfriend. I had no choice but to accept because, by then, I was already falling in love with him. And so, our love journey began. About a month later, I was at his place, and while we were cooking together, he asked why I was still living with my parents. I explained my father's rule, and he replied, "You're not a child anymore. You can make your own decisions. Move out and experience the happiness that comes with it." I chuckled face with hand over mouth, thinking he was just being caring. Little did I know, a man who truly plans to marry you won't ask you to leave your parents' house just a few months after dating. I brushed it aside and went back home after spending a few hours with him on my day off. But later, while chatting, he brought up the topic again. This time, he suggested I move in with him so we could see how things would go from there. I disagreed, reminding him that my father would never allow it. He then told me to lie, to tell my parents that I wanted to live alone, not with him, and convince my mother to support me. 3 days later, I called a family meeting. I told them my decision. As expected, my dad flared up in anger, but my mom calmed him down. After much talk, they reluctantly agreed. The following week, I packed my things and moved in with Akanbi. I started giving my family excuses that my place was too far for them to visit, and they eventually stopped bothering. Everything between me and Akanbi seemed perfect. I was so in love, and it made me want to marry him so badly. Blinded by love, I didn't see what was coming. Months later, on a fateful day, I returned from work. As I opened the door, I noticed a woman's shoes on the floor. I stepped in and saw Akanbi sitting with a lady on the couch. He smiled and said, "Meet my cousin, Ewa." Ewa greeted me warmly, and I greeted her back. We chatted and played throughout the day. When it got late, I expected her to leave, but Akanbi said she'd be sleeping over. I agreed. Akanbi said he would make dinner, and he prepared toast bread and tea. While eating, I noticed something unusual, a ring inside my teacup. My heart skipped a beat. I thought he was trying to propose, and that's why he brought his cousin. He knelt down and proposed to me. I didn't hesitate, I accepted the ring. He brought out some wine, and we all drank. Not long after, I fell asleep. The next morning, I woke up late, rushed to prepare for work, and he told me his cousin left very early. We both got ready and left for work together. Akanbi, by the way, is a graduate, working at a GIG company. About a month later, while I was at work, a colleague informed me that someone was asking for me outside. I stepped out, and to my surprise, it was Ewa, Akanbi's supposed cousin. She asked me to sit. She looked serious, then she said, "Ajoke, I'm here to tell you the truth about Akanbi." I froze. Looking at her closely, I noticed she was pregnant. Everything suddenly began to make sense. She went on. "Akanbi is not my brother, he's my boyfriend." I was trembling as she continued. "I've known Akanbi for about 8 years now. I've endured his cheating habits and his player lifestyle. I thought he'd change, but he only got worse. While dating you, he has 4 other kids from different women, all living with their mothers. I was always careful not to get pregnant for him because I didn't want to end up like them. When I found out about you, I asked him why he was doing this. He told me you looked easy to get and that he just wanted to waste your time for about a year and then dump you. Tears rolled down my cheeks. I was shaking. She continued. That night he proposed to you was by coincidence. The ring was meant for me, after I pestered him to either marry me or leave me alone. But because I was there that night, and he didn't want you to suspect anything, he quickly proposed to you instead. That same night, he drugged your wine with sleeping pills so you could sleep early. After you slept off, we stayed together in the living room, and I had to leave very early in the morning before you woke up. Now I'm pregnant for him, and when I told him, he insisted I abort it. I refused. That's why I ran away and came to inform you before leaving for another town to start a new life as a single mother. I'm also here to ask for your forgiveness. I was shattered. But I had no choice but to forgive her. I quickly took a leave from work, telling them something urgent happened at home. When I got to Akanbi's place, I caught him in bed with another lady, both of them naked. He didn't expect me at that hour. I didn't react. I just quietly packed my belongings while he tried to stop me. I took off the filthy ring and threw it at him. I went home. When I got home, I knelt down and begged my parents for forgiveness. I told them how I had been blinded by love, how I ignored their warnings, and how it had led to heartbreak. They forgave me. They embraced me and welcomed me back home. And from that day, I learned one big lesson. No matter how bad your situation is, once you realize you've made a mistake and there's no peace where you are, go back home. Because that's the only place you'll truly be cherished and loved.